All right, we are here. We are live in a VO's Journey channel. It is great to be live on Wednesday. And this is a VO's Journey. I'm your host, Anthony Pica, and this channel is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy landmines that I seem to step on. I have some really cool stuff today. I actually just got off the phone with Miles, the CEO from Voquent. They've got some really exciting things that they've been working on that they just released. So if you have an account on Voquent, I would suggest going to your profile, checking it out. They've done a lot of new things, a lot of ways to help you get business by trying to offer suggestions and everything as you're going through the process of uploading samples. Really cool, type of setup. So I'm very pleased with that. I was on there and I was checking it out and I was talking to him. So it's kind of neat to see that. Hey Greg, hey Shabbat, it's good to see you guys. So I'm excited. I know I'm going to be talking a lot more in the future about Voquent and those new things. As I told you in the past, they were coming out with a lot of cool stuff, and they've been working hard for the last couple of weeks. I know they were a little behind, but it's an insane amount of work that goes into the back end of those things, and they're going to keep bringing out new stuff and booking options and all kinds of things. So I'm really excited to dive into that later on in another episode. But today, what we are going to be talking about is how to market or promote your Fiverr gigs off of Fiverr. When I first started on Fiverr, just like everybody else, I didn't have any business and I didn't have a lot of traffic. I wasn't really anywhere on the rankings. So I had the idea that, there is a lot of options, like, for example, paid advertising, on these platforms. And I could just use my links to Fiverr. It would generate, a nice setup that would generate the Fiverr thumbnail and everything. And it would look good. And people who recognize that would go and so forth. And, I started doing that for a little while and paying money. Of course, that kind of became bothersome to me because, Fiverr charges 20% for their marketing and everything in their platform. So if you pay more, right, then, that's an extra amount of cost for marketing on top of the 20% they charge you for doing business there. So, that was kind of like a little frustrating for me. So I stopped doing that. And however, it did generate a lot of traffic. And I think from a business standpoint, it did help. But I did get a little, like I said, frustrated about paying extra for ads when I'm paying them to market as well. Okay. So, I stepped back from that and I tried to, just begin to think, what could I do off of the platform in order to market my gig? Because the reality is that, no matter who they are, what platform they are, who's doing it, no one is going to market or sell your services like you. So because of that, I think it's important to talk about what you can do with your gig, with your I know we're talking about Fiverr, but it could be any online platform. It could be your website, but we're kind of focusing on platforms because I think platforms at this point, unless you have, like I said, unless you have some decked out website that can compete with, we talk about trust on this channel a lot and establishing trust. Unless you have that, these platforms are a great thing to do. But I'm all about trying to market freely through social media so that we're not spending extra money. But we're not going to dive into it today. But the paid options, they are options to look at. And if you think about it from just 1 second, from a standpoint of, let's say on Fiverr, you do pay for an ad. You know what I mean? It's 20% that you pay Fiverr off the top anyways. However, let's say after you've been advertising, you pay another 10%. Well, then, so your total marketing cost is 30% out of 70%, right? That you get to keep. However, the question here is once again, is it worth your bottom line? Like, does it pay for everything? Like, what is the overall percentage of what you're making? This is important to know about numbers. And I'm going to be doing a podcast tonight, which I'm super excited about because I've got Chuck Brown is doing the intro tonight for the podcast. So I'm excited. So I'll be releasing a podcast tonight where I'm going to be talking about a 6-step strategy to market across any platform. So it's kind of based a little loosely. We're talking a little bit about it today, but that podcast is really going to dive into 6 steps that I use and that I think anybody can use for any social media platform on the podcast. So anyways, by the way, on a side note, if you would like, and this is just something really cool because Angela did such a great job. Chuck already put in his stuff. Chuck is really, I mean, I know all of you guys are good, but Chuck is really good. He's really good at I was telling him, man, his intro sounded better than mine. So if you're interested in doing an intro, just let me know for the podcast. And what I do is I send you a script and you also get an opportunity if you have a question, to ask that. And, and I include that into the podcast. So, and a shout out for you. So thank you. All right. Anyways, getting back to what we were talking about. So let's dive into some things that I think you can do. First and foremost, you can't be scared. And I say that, and if you know what I'm talking about when it comes to Fiverr and you promoting Fiverr and you being on Fiverr, because in the end, if you have done any promotion of yourself from Fiverr, there is a chance that you might have gotten some hate mail, if you will, or maybe someone saying, another voiceover artist or someone else from the industry saying, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you suck, or that's just cheap rates, you're ruining the industry, all that kind of stuff, right? There's a chance that you have gotten that feedback from people, and it's not pleasant. Nobody wants to have to deal with that. But the thing is that the first thing you got to do is you got to overcome that fear of actually, promoting Fiverr, you being on Fiverr, or any other platform. But, you got to get past that. So, if you can get past that, then that's the first step, because if you can, then you start to realize that everything we do on social media, every type of marketing, all right, it needs to have something for people to find out more information about you. All right. They need to be able to actually go somewhere if they want to learn more about you. All right. So the first thing that you can do easily is go on to Fiverr, go to one of your gigs, go over to when you click on gigs on the gig button, and then it's going to drop down the gigs you have. And there's over on the right side, there's a bunch of down arrows for each gig. And you click on that, and it allows you can share through a variety of platforms, or you can actually copy a link and do that. So the first way that you really can do this is putting a link to your Fiverr gig. All right. And actually just simply, doing the down and dirty, if you need a voiceover artist, check me out here. Does that work? Probably not. But you know what? It's not something that you shouldn't, every once in a while do. Okay. So that's the one way. But the most important part of that aspect, I think, is understanding where that link is. Okay. Now we talk about profiles in your social media. Instagram, for example, you get one link in your profile. You can't link anywhere else on Instagram. You get one link. Twitter, you can put as many links as you want, but you get one link on your profile. All right. On where it says the website or whatever that people can go, you get that link. You can put a link there. Facebook, you can link everywhere. But if you have a business page, you generally have a link for your website or wherever you want people to go. Okay. On your business or your business page in Facebook. LinkedIn, again, you have, depending on whether you have a business account or not, there is a link there. Now, you can do multiple things when it comes to posting, which we'll get to a second, but the links for your accounts, the profile links, it's important that you make a decision about where you want to send people. And it needs to be an entire, like a holistic approach, meaning that, sending people from Facebook over here and from Twitter over there and from Instagram down there and from LinkedIn over there and all these different places, right? You're shooting yourself in the foot. So what you need to do is you need to, as a whole, step back and look at the entire, your entire kind of social strategy when it comes to where are you sending people? What are they doing? You have to understand that people are going to be on different platforms. You've got to talk to people on multiple places, but they should be able to get to the same place that you want them to go on each one of these platforms. So if you don't have links to the exact place that you want them to go, in this case, your Fiverr gig, you're missing out on any of that traffic. Okay. So it's important that the first thing or the second thing that you do after you've gotten over your fear of promoting yourself through Fiverr is to get your links on places. Okay. That's a big thing. We're going to talk about this tonight in the podcast, but we're going to talk more about measuring, because that's a very important part of doing all this, is measuring what's happening, who's clicking on what. And I'll talk about some ways to do that. But, getting your link in your profiles to the same place really will maximize your traffic. Okay. So that's really important. Secondly, or thirdly, I guess, right? So after you got your links in your profile, now we want to talk about linking in your actual posts. But when we talk about posting, I think there is a misconception for a lot of us, because I'm not going to claim that we're old, but we are definitely not super young. So because of that, I know for myself, even social media now, it is, I don't, except for Facebook. And I have to admit, Facebook has become very much a social aspect of my life, but not my personal stuff, my business, my group. But, everything else though, socially, it's not something that I live on. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that I grew up with. And I'm going to bet the same thing for you. All right. Is that we didn't grow up with this idea that, that's how we communicate. However, it's not an excuse for us not to be using these platforms. Okay. But it's true, right? We didn't grow up. So it's not, it's not like common nature for us to pull out our phone and say, gosh, what am I going to do today? Well, I know I need to get on Twitter to see what's happening in the world, or I'm going to see on Instagram because, my friends are going to be posting some things. I want to see what they're doing, or I want to see, what happened with so-and-so's relationship. We're not used to that. I mean, you might be at that place now, but we're more used to, we've gotten to the point where I think a lot of us now do that on Facebook. Whereas, more people are moving, or younger people to, they move on other platforms. All right. And, that's the life that they're living. My son, he's 11. I mean, that's his whole, that's how he communicates with everybody. I don't think, now it's not true, he's FaceTime some people. But when I was young, it was all about, you're getting to talk on the phone, with a friend. They don't talk on the phone anymore. Right. They all just they're all just, texting and they're on social media. That's how they communicate, or that's how, the world is moving. And, we do it too. We talk on the phone more because we used to that. And we like to talk to people, but the texting and the communication is important. So with that being said, we need to understand that when you're posting things, there has to be some sort of social nature to it. It has to be something that's adding. Remember, and I know I've said this before, but you're either adding education or you're adding value. I'm sorry, education or entertainment. So if you're not adding those things, then your posts are going to fall to the wayside. So let's say you are adding those things, you're educating something, you're entertaining in some way, then you include a link on the bottom to find out more information about you. You kind of, you just have that in there. You can do that. I know there is if you've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks about kind of like this jab, 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 right hook, this idea that, you give, then you ask, then you sell, you give, then you sell, kind of thing. And I like that idea, but I like it more, again, as a, you're just slipping, your links to learn more about you in there. So it's not so obtrusive. I'm not going to go in exactly what to post because that could be, a discussion for each individual person. But I think the point is that getting those links, getting them out on social media, getting them in your profiles, getting them in posts that you're making and just simply linking. You don't need to make a big deal of the link. If somebody wants to find you, they'll find you. But you got to get it out there in those things. Okay. All right, let's take a look over at the comment section over here. Let's say we got Greg. What's up, man? Shabazz, Scott, Big Jim, Howard. Welcome, Howard. Oh, cool. Thank you. Chuck. That's right, man. That was awesome, Chuck. Let's see. Shabazz, Jim, Marcus. What's up, Marcus? Wolf Creek Training and Consulting, LLC. All right. Anybody have any questions? Post them over there. But I'm excited about the podcast tonight because we're going to talk about that. But again, what I would love to see, and I think the biggest thing about this video is to make sure you are consciously and on purpose sending everyone from every aspect of your social media presence to one place that you want them to go, or you are losing traffic. You're losing opportunity. Exactly. And I think it's a perfect example because, the analytics on Fiverr or, and other platforms that offer it, the more visible you are, the more in front of people you get, the more work you get, right? Because the more opportunities you have. So that's something really important to think about. So you've got to get yourself out there and you've got to get yourself in front of people. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Pay attention to or watch the Wire for the podcast tonight. It's going to be great. And Chuck, thank you again for the intro. Y'all are going to love it. He's good at it. And if you're interested in doing an intro for me too, let me know. Please like. Oh, I'm going to do it again. Like this video. Like. I know I'm an idiot. I said that. But anyways, share it and please subscribe if you haven't already and tick the notification bell. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow. All right. Peace.